Morning arrived with a gentle hush, the kind that feels borrowed from a dream. Soft rays of golden light slipped through sheer curtains, sketching faint patterns across the bedroom walls. Birds chattered beyond the glass, their song part of the stillness I woke into. But beneath the calm, a subtle tension pulsed in my chest, a restlessness I attributed to the day ahead. Rachel's sister was getting married. The event promised to be a lavish countryside affair, the sort that looked curated straight from bridal magazines or picturesque Instagram reels. The estate was breathtaking, an old manor nestled among rolling hills, surrounded by swaying oaks and vibrant blossoms. The scent of jasmine and freshly cut grass floated through the breeze like a living memory. Guests arrived dressed in effortless finery, silk gowns, custom-fitted suits, polished shoes clicking against cobblestone as laughter rang through the air. Toasts and embraces spilled across the lawn. Rachel, as always, was radiant. Her burgundy dress hugged her silhouette with grace, and her curls danced with every step she took. She walked beside me, her fingers loosely laced through mine, pausing for pictures, exchanging words and warmth with distant relatives. She belonged to the moment in a way I didn't. I felt like a prop in the background of her perfect life, just another detail that made the frame feel whole. I tried to focus on the joy. I told myself to be present, to let go of whatever unease tugged at the edge of my thoughts. Maybe it was just nerves. Or maybe it was the odd discomfort of attending such a momentous event as a bystander rather than a main character. The ceremony unfolded like something out of a dream. Rachel's sister moved down the aisle like a vision, radiant behind a lace veil. The vows were heartfelt, raw and vulnerable, drawing emotion even from the most reserved faces. A string quartet played tender notes as sunlight bathed the scene in amber warmth. Later, the reception sparkled with magic. Inside the grand hall, chandeliers hung like captured stars above tables adorned with glowing candles and white roses. A jazz band played smooth melodies that draped the room in velvet. Laughter, dancing, endless toasts, it was the kind of night that begged to be remembered. And I really did, to lose myself in it. I drank, smiled, danced. But somewhere between one song and the next, I noticed the change. Rachel grew distant in the smallest of ways. Her eyes lingered on her phone longer than usual. She stepped out for her more than once. Her fingers moved quickly, texting, responding, glancing over her shoulder. At first, I brushed it off. It had been a long day. But deep inside, something stirred. Something old. Something I had ignored for months. Late-night calls she waved off. Missed dinners she never quite explained. Half-truths and shrugged-off silence. A quiet voice inside me whispered what I already feared, that I wasn't imagining this. I just hadn't let myself face it. Then I saw them. In a dim corner near the bar, where candlelight faded and voices thinned, Rachel stood with a man I didn't know. He was tall, confident in a way that didn't demand attention but easily held it. The way he looked at her wasn't casual. It was intimate. Familiar. She laughed at something he said, her hand brushing his sleeve, her face glowing with a warmth I hadn't seen in months. A look of ease, of joy, of something that didn't belong to me anymore. My stomach tightened. I told myself to look away. Maybe I'd misread it. Then he leaned in, and she didn't move. Their kiss was brief, but undeniable. It wasn't a mistake. It was practiced. Certain. Real. The room faded around me. The music, the laughter, the clinking glasses, all of it turned to static. I stood there, frozen, watching the woman I loved, the woman I married, kiss someone else. I didn't shout. Didn't confront. My body moved without command, heavy and slow, carrying me past the glowing lanterns, past the people I no longer felt connected to, and into the silence of the garden. Moonlight painted the stone path. The air was cool, but I was numb. I pulled out my phone and called my best friend. My voice cracked as I said the words I had never imagined I'd have to speak. She kissed someone else. Saying it made it real. And in that moment, something inside me shattered. That night, I drove home alone. Headlights flickered across the dark road, my mind replaying the way her eyes had lit up, not for me, but for someone else. When I got to our apartment, I didn't hesitate. I packed a small bag. Just essentials. A few items that still felt like mine. I left everything else behind. There were no accusations. No arguments. Just a message with 3 words: it's over. No anger. No pleading. Just finality. Her calls came in waves. At first confused, then sorry, then frantic. I didn't answer. I needed space. I needed to breathe. Then, days later, she showed up. Tears had ruined her makeup. Her eyes were puffy, lips trembling, and in her hand she held lilies, my favorite flower. Whether out of memory or a desperate Google search, I couldn't tell. She said it was a mistake. That she'd been confused. That the kiss meant nothing. That she loved me. I stood still as she spoke, each word digging deeper, not because of what she said, but because I saw the truth behind it. She wasn't sorry for what she did. She was sorry that I saw. Love without loyalty is just a lie dressed up in flowers and apologies. When she finished, I met her eyes. My voice was calm. Cold. You didn't just cheat on me. You betrayed the life we were building. You kissed him while your sister was stepping into forever. You shattered something sacred, not just between us, but in yourself. I can't pretend I didn't see it. I can't pretend it didn't happen. She broke down, pleading for another chance. Promising to fix what she'd destroyed. But I had nothing left to give. Some wounds go too deep. Some bridges burn too completely. You made your choice, I said. Now live with it. In the weeks that followed, I began to heal. I leaned on my friends. I walked early in the morning, letting the quiet rebuild me. I picked up my old guitar. I sketched. I wrote. I grieved. I raged. I forgave, but not for her. For me. I realized walking away wasn't weakness. It was strength. It was dignity. Months later, she reached out again. Her messages were softer now, full of regret, stories of how she'd grown, how she'd changed. She wanted to talk. To try again. But I never answered. I had found peace, in stillness, in solitude, in the quiet truth of being enough. That night, once the most excruciating of my life, became the beginning of something else. Not an ending. A rebirth. I walked away broken. But I walked away free.